Hi and welcome back to the channel and the next instalment of the Mechanics of Emotion. Today's song is Wonderful Life by Black, aka Colin Vercoom, or Vercoom, I'm not sure, which the older amongst you will remember from 1986, literally a different century. My. Eesh. Anywho, it's a lovely song, I always loved it, and I thought it'd be a great tune to include in this. I've gone down the route this time of more legato phrasing, hammers and pulls and all that sort of stuff. And to that end, I've dug out the old Yamaha DG-1000 in the rack and the Magicstomp, so I can get that authentic Alan Holdsworth sound, which is perfect for this. So it's a bit of a contrast to I'm Not in Love, which is more kind of a, Strat, Fender Ampy kind of type of deal. So without further ado, let's get stuck into it. But all this wisdom, all this knowledge comes with a caveat. Nowadays, more than ever, particularly on the internet, people listen with their eyes. You may have noticed this trend, perhaps. So it is vital that no matter what you glean from today's information, that you learn to gurn. People will doubt the veracity of your emotion unless you are gurning like Gary Moore having a fit. I was going to say a rude word there. Yeah, particularly boomers that do not like it if you don't do the gurn face. So, practice all this stuff, these techniques, brilliant, and then go and spend, half an hour standing in front of the bathroom mirror and practicing those poses and those faces, because nobody will believe you otherwise. Anyway, on with the show. Okay, so first off, we'll look at bar scoops, dips and dives. So I find the most effective way to do this is not to actually pick the note, just do a hammer-on from nowhere and bring the bar up. So you can pick, but I prefer the rounded sound you get from the note when you just hammer on and bring the bar up. Of course, they can be subtle or less so. And then you got the fall off as well, which is another important aspect of this sort of thing. Just bring it. Again, mimicking what singers do naturally with their intonation and the way they trail in and out of words sometimes. Also, an important aspect here is the way I'm using the bar and the correct technique. I see people do this, well, there's no right or wrong way, but what they tend to do is grab it too stiffly, and then when they're pivoting around the note, they're going up, they're not locating on the actual pitch. They're going, they're basically, when you do a bar vibrato or any vibrato, you've got the actual pitch, the actual note, and you've got to make sure that you are staying true to that note, even though you're deviating from it. So if you're pulling up, it'll be off the note. It'll sound terrible. So I use a really kind of loose grip with those fingers. And again, you can do these upward inflections on notes. And go a bit Jeff Beck on it. I mean, if you're really skilled with the bar, of course, you can imitate the slide, like Jeff Beck or Michael Lee Firkins is pretty amazing at this. So that's some of the bar work. Say you got the There's another one I like actually, where you do an upward bend to your target note, like that, bring it up, and then hammer on as you release, so you end up landing on the same note, like that. And you can do the flutter as well, if you like, with a little whoop drop as you get to it. Ultimately, at the end of the day, this is all about intonation. Okay. Vibrato. So one of the things you may have noticed watching that playthrough at the beginning there is how my vibrato is timed to the rhythm of the track. And it wasn't something I actually realised I was doing until I watched it back. I suppose it's a natural thing to do at certain tempos. It's not something you want to do uniformly every single time. Vibrato needs to be very varied depending on the context. But yeah, I'll play the opening phrase. So again, little reflections there. Over egging the slide there. And there's another little thing I do a lot, what I call the intonational tweak, if you like. Once again, imitating something that a singer does naturally. So there I'm going. Now I could go. I could go. Maybe not that. So actually, when you watch the playthrough, you'll probably see there's very few notes that aren't in some way manipulated pitch-wise. So there's you sort of slide into a note. And there I'm legatoing through those three notes. And again, sort of using squeeze release to shape the phrase, shape the end note lengths. If I just play a phrase without any kind of articulation, it's very dull sounding, so yeah. It's a bit Jack and Jill. There's something else that you'll see me doing a lot. So if I hit a note that I'm going to sustain and use the bar with, more often than not, I'll do this kind of thing. I might play it with my third or fourth, and then the remaining fingers, I've just trailed dead weight across the lower strings so that I can play that and use the bar with impunity. Safe with the knowledge that something else isn't going to come in. I mean, if we've got any low strings, and particularly with a 7 or an 8 string, you know, there's energy in the system, and of course it's got to go somewhere, and you've got to control it. So yeah, choked notes. So I think that's covered all the little micro techniques, shall we call them, all the little different ways of putting pitch inflections into a melodic thing. Okay, hope that was helpful and you enjoyed that. If so, please like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And see you on the flip side, or the next time I can get a video out, whichever happens first. Laters.